Some of the content covered may be graphic in nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about Gloria Ramierez, who is actually known as the Toxic Lady. February 19th, 1994, 31-year-old Gloria Ramierez is admitted to Riverside General Hospital. They said she had complications from like late-stage cervical cancer. And basically, once she was brought into the hospital, the staff noted that she had like an oily sheen on her skin and like a fruity, kind of garlicky odor. And actually, once her blood was drawn, there was a very, very strong scent of ammonia. And one of the doctors actually noted that inside the vials of her blood, it looked like white crystals, but obviously they weren't really sure what it was at the time. So after her blood was drawn and the ammonia smell was going on, some of the doctors actually started to pass out, and like the people all in the ER started to get real sick, but really nobody had any idea what it was. So the entire ER had to be evacuated. Now, 45 minutes into the procedure, just of them trying to save her life, she did die. So that's kind of unfortunate. But overall, 23 people that were in the ER became ill, and 5 of them were all hospitalized.
Did anybody else die?
No, no one else died. Like I said, some of the, like 5 of the people were hospitalized. It was nothing major. It was shortness of breath, you know, people that were passing out, stuff like that. Nothing crazy, except for the fact that this woman came into the hospital with, you know, complications from cervical cancer, and here it is, like, you know, just from drawing her blood and the scent and all that, the doctors themselves started to get sick. So they had no idea what's going on. Once they actually went in to review the body, everyone had to don like hazmat suits and all that just to basically handle everything. They built like a tiny little room to house her body to make sure that everything was kept inside, because nobody had any idea what was going on at the time. So there are a couple theories as to, you know, why everyone in the hospital actually was getting sick. So the first theory, it was just mass hysteria. You know, hey, this is kind of crazy. Someone feels sick. Everybody's freaking out. It's kind of a loose theory, if you ask me. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's
and they're professionals. They don't.
Yeah, I mean,
they see this stuff.
This is ER. People
Right.
come in, gunshot victims, all the stuff like that. No one's gonna freak out from that. So the second theory is she used dimethyl sulfoxide for arthritis pain, which is just, you know, a pill you take basically to help with pain. This one to me is a little far-fetched, and I'm going to go into it with you why I think it's kind of far-fetched. So basically what they said was the DMSO, which is the dimethyl sulfoxide she was taking, when mixed with oxygen that she was given in the ambulance from the paramedics, and the temperature drop from her having her blood drawn in the ER, created dimethyl sulfate, which is a lethal compound.
Which is what it caused that smell?
Yeah, which is like, dude, I'm no scientist, but like, what are the chances that something like that is going to happen and then emit a gas? You know, once again, I'm not a scientist, so I could be 100% wrong, but that just seems like...
Is that a theory, or is that a...
Well, basically what they're saying is by everything being present between taking that drug, having the oxygen administered, and then the temperature drop, it is a possibility. Yes, it's a theory. Some have come out and said, hey, the mystery is solved. This is why it happened.
Could they recreate it, though? You know
That's a
what I
good
mean?
question. Yeah.
Anything that I found, nobody tried to do it.
Well,
but that's why I said, like, theoretically.
Lazy scientists.
But that's
Lazy
like saying
doctors.
Yeah, but that's like saying, well, I know how to make mustard gas and I could do it. I'm just not going to because it's stupid. You know,
Right.
why do I want to recreate this? But you know what I mean, though? But yeah, so basically, some of the symptoms do match up between like dimethyl sulfate poisoning, I guess you would call it. But here's kind of where it differs. So on one hand, people are saying, oh man, these symptoms are spot on. The whole shortness of breath, nausea, obviously just fainting, that is part of that. But that's almost a freaking symptom of everything.
That's
Right.
what I was gonna say.
Like, that's,
She's got AIDS.
yeah, yeah. I mean, dude, I can not eat
Yeah.
for a day and I'm gonna get nauseous and maybe feel
Any
a little
sickness.
lightheaded. Yeah.
Causes
So
that.
the
I get
flips-
nauseous when Dan's in the room.
I know it has that effect
Right.
on a lot of people. I know.
The
I try.
The flip side of that is, they said if that had actually been created, it would be more like a tear gas. So what I got from that is it being more like a tear gas, it's going to be more of an irritant. You know what I mean? It's like something that's going to irritate your eyes, irritate your sinuses, irritate your skin, not make you pass out. Now, I'm sure everyone is going to handle that differently, just
Right.
because, like, I don't know, I'm sure if I got tear gas, I'd be like a little bitch, as opposed to somebody that is, you know, around that, I guess, maybe desensitized. But regardless, so this is the final theory, and this one is way out there.
Okay.
But it's when you think about it in today's day and age. Now this is almost what, 25 years ago?
94 it says.
94.
Died 94.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So 23 years ago. Take what you knew from 20 years ago and then take it to the times they are now, and this won't seem that far-fetched.
Okay.
So basically, the hospital was, well, in theory, the hospital was harboring a drug lab. Now, they have access to all the precursor chemicals that you could use to make meth, and they would be able to buy them or order them because it's a hospital. So
Sure.
nobody's going to question. I mean, think of Breaking Bad. I know it wasn't a hospital, but it's like, if somebody could easily get those, think how easily a hospital.
Well, yeah,
could.
no. I mean, the
Yeah.
whole theory of the lab in like season 3 was that, you know, it's all the same pharmaceutical gear that, you know, Pfizer would use.
So it gets worse though. They were using IVs, like the IV bags, to actually transport the drugs to the black market, or if you could call it, loosely calling it the black market, but wherever basically they were selling it. Now, a hospital in Denver, and I'm sorry, I didn't do my homework, I don't know which one, but a hospital in Denver in 1990 actually got busted for doing this exact thing. So the whole idea is that the IV bags that they were transporting, or, you know, using to transport, got switched, and she actually was given the chemicals that were in the bag.
No, that makes a very, you know,
And-
that's what makes a lot of sense.
Think about it. Puts it in your body.
Exactly.
I
So
mean,
now
that's-
she's
makes
pumped,
sense.
She's pumped full of whatever these precursor chemicals are, and, you know, then they went into, well, if these chemicals were, basically she is now a giant bag that's just way OD'd on all these chemicals. They draw the blood, they find these white crystals inside the vial because
Yep.
everything is so concentrated,
Yep.
and evidently it could possibly be enough to actually give off a gas or a smell at the very minimum, because it's a full IV bag. You know, I don't know how much she was actually given, but it gets worse though, even after that. So basically the IV bag that was administered to her was never tested. The syringe that was used to draw her blood was lost. All of her bedding was thrown out, and the body was actually hidden away. And after they did the autopsy, they never returned the heart with the body. So they weren't actually be able to completely test to, you know, they weren't able to test the entire body because the heart was never given back.
That is weird. If that's all true, that looks like some kind of cover up that they were trying to. Why would you not why would you not return the heart?
And it's not like she's donating it. Clearly
Right.
she had issues.
Right.
You know, now the actual cause of death was listed as kidney failure. I mean, that can really happen.
Well, yeah,
from-
but your kidneys,
they have to
filter
filter
death?
everything out.
Yeah,
Exactly.
no shit.
Now that being said, if she had cervical cancer, there's a huge possibility that the anti-cancer drugs she was giving were just slamming her kidneys, you know.
Yeah, but I mean,
for, it's one of those things where it's like you won't know, and you're probably never gonna know, because if there was anything crazy going on, that's not gonna come out. It's 20 years later.
Right.
And this was all over the news, man. It was on like 2020 or something too.
yeah, it says that they, investigation discovery, new detectives, X-Files
was
based something on,
yep.
The story, and something on NCIS too. But yeah, I would have to say that it makes most sense for the last scenario. It just,
I agree.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where like like a hospital run drug ring, completely free access to any chemicals they would need, and no one's going to question, why are you buying this stuff? Because it's a hospital.
Right.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And, you bring the Breaking Bad reference, and, what goes beneath the surface of like any sort of operation, no one will know except, the people that are in on it.
But I know what you're saying. Like you don't have a huge group of people where someone's going to come out and say something.
Yeah.
You're going to have a tight inner circle that's going to be knowing the workings of this.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing that I will mention is, of course, the syringe being lost, the bedding being thrown out. I would think that just right off the rip, that's not really something you're going to want to save, because it's contaminated. It's a hospital. They're used to dumping biohazardous waste. Is that how you say that? Biohazardous?
Sure.
I think so, yeah.
But it's so I guess that's not that weird, but to have something that crazy of a case where they built a containment chamber and made everyone go in there with hazmat suits after the ER was evacuated, when did they have time to pitch that stuff except for after they had already donned the hazmat suits and had everything contained?
Yeah, and then immediately after that.
Right, right.
It's
So,
not a normal scenario either. It doesn't, going to a hospital, that's not a normal scenario to people walking in with hazmat, unless they were in a chemical spill or something.
and maybe even, and as crazy as it sounds, but like if whatever group was doing that beneath, or behind the scenes, went to the investigator like group that was, trying to figure out what's going on, just said, here's some money.
Right.
Go
Yeah.
away.
Well, that's it for this week's episode. If you like what you saw, please like, share, subscribe, and comment below. I'm John Budzinski. From The Mistake on the Lake, this is Type 3 TV. Over and out.